चैट बॉक्स में हम लोग नोट कर सकते हैं, नहीं तो अपना डायरी में नोट कर लो, वो हम लोग आगे जाके नहीं तो लास्ट में जाके उसको डिस्कशन करेंगे। ओके okay then. So before going to the slide, these are the 3 points that we have to put in our mind, like a general understanding of a drug nomenclature, pharmacology, and the prescription writing can help avoid undesirable complication. Okay, undesirable complication of the drug administration and the interaction. So these are the 1 point that we have to consider and put in our mind, and we'll be discussing in the coming slide. And second one is a comprehensive medical history must be taken on all patients, including current medications and a drug allergy. And third one is all tests perform and drug administration have the potential to alter the subsequent test. So choose the order of your exam wisely. So these are the points we have to consider before going to the slide, and these all things we are going to discuss in each of the slide. So be calm and listen carefully. So let's come to the history part. So history part is the most important, as we all know. Okay. So we have to note each and everything that the patient are using any drug, any kind. So we are discussing about the drug. So if the patient is using any kinds of drug, that means topical, that may be intravenous, or their frequency, their concentration. Okay, so each and everything that should be noted. So let's start the benefit of the pharmacologic agents to the physician and the patient are undeniable. So undeniable means unable to deny. Okay. So however, in inappropriate or accidental use or improper combinations of the drugs can be detrimental or that may be harmful. So for this reason, although a case history must be taken before any drug applied to the prescriptions for the patient. So the history must include a comprehensive list of all the medications the patient is currently using. That may be topical eye drop, and that may be systemic eye drop, that should or that may prescribe and over the counter along with the frequency and duration. So a knowledge of this will help avoid the problem as well as formulations the best plan and of evaluation and treatment of regimen. So we should always a comprehensive look at the patient overall systemic, and that may be ocular health history should be included, because any existence condition may alter the therapeutic or diagnostic plan of attack. Okay, so these are the points that we have to put, and we have to mention in our AMR or any paperwork if any hospital is having. So, and second one is patient evaluation. So what are things that we used to do in our clinic or any hospital? Like, there are the one format which is adapted from the Bartetit and genus. So like what are sequence of the patient evaluation? Like once a comprehensive history and the other pertinent informations are gathered, the actual exam begins. Okay. So all the demographic data that may include the name, age, sex, occupation of the patients. So if the patient is having all the demographic data, then the patient examination is begun. So realize, however, any drug introduced into the eye that can affect subsequent tests. So the order of this test in an ophthalmic examination can greatly impact the result. So here the format, like visual. At first, we have to assess the visual acuity, like pupil examination, manifest refraction, binocular testing, and anterior segment evaluation. So these are the tests we are going to briefly read about one by one. So at first, let's come to the visual acuity, which is the main part to be assessed before initiating any kinds of drug. Okay, so for medical legal reason, along visual acuity must be the first step performed before all other tests. So any agent administered to the eye has the potential or adverse effect visual acuity. So the visual acuity of each eye must be therefore to be taken prior to the other eye. ओके, तो हम लोग को याद रखना है विजुअल एक्टिविटी सबसे मस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट रहता है नोट करने का, और कोई भी केस वगैरह सबसे बचने के लिए। तो विजुअल एक्टिविटी हम लोग कोई भी ड्रॉप वगैरह सब कोई भी पेशेंट को टच भी नहीं करके, पेशेंट का कोई भी ड्रॉप वगैरह सब नहीं डाल के पहले हम लोग को विजुअल एक्टिविटी मेजर करना है, असिस्ट करना है। ओके, and second, coming to the pupil ablation. So pupil ablation is for the assessing of the optic nerve function. So this must be done before any mydriatic or cycloplegic or mydriatic or the pharmacologic agent. So कोई भी ड्रॉप डालने से पहले हम लोग को pupil evaluation करना जरूरी है, क्योंकि pupil evaluation करते हैं तो वहाँ से हम लोग को pupil evaluation करने का मेन काम क्या है, हम लोग ऑप्टिक नर्व फंक्शन को चेक कर रहे हैं वो राइट सही है या नहीं। So otherwise the assessment of the true pupillary function will be embedded. If we put any kinds of mydriatic drop, then the pupil will be constricted or dilated. So the pupil evaluation will not be assessed. So before a mydriatic or cycloplegic drug or any pharmacological drugs, we have to assess the pupil evaluation. So now coming to the manifest refraction. So just any agent may potentially alter the visual acuity, as we all know. Okay, so the same is true for the manifest reactions. If the visual acuity is altered, subjective response may also be affected. Okay, so cycloplegic and mydriatic drug in particular affect the accommodative system. So any near point must be done before dilatation. If the cycloplegic refraction is warranted, it should be done only after the accommodative and convergent testing. तो हम लोग को क्या ध्यान में रखना है, जैसे कोई भी टेस्ट वगैरह सब है वो हम लोग को जैसे नियर पॉइंट वगैरह सब एनआरए एनपीसी वगैरह सब चेक करना है, तो हम लोग को साइक्लोप्लेजिक या मिडियाटिक ड्रग डालने से पहले ही हम लोग को एसिस कर लेना है। ओके, क्योंकि जो भी साइक्लोप्लेजिक और मिडियाटिक ड्रग वगैरह सब रहता है वो डायरेक्टली हम लोग को एक्कोमोडेटिव सिस्टम को इफेक्ट करता है। तो वो सब क्या करते हैं, हम लोग एकोमोडेशन सिस्टम को रिलैक्स कर देते हैं साइक्लोप्लेजिक और मिडियाटिक ड्रग। And second one is binocular testing. So it is also same like we have to assess everything of binocular testing, like cover test, uncover test, Harbor stage, which is known as HBT. Okay, any binocular testing should be done before installing the mydriatic and cycloplegic drug. So as we know that accommodation and convergence function are linked together. So as a result, all binocular testing should be performed before cycloplegia. Okay. Now coming to the anterior chamber evaluation. So we know that we are using the anesthetic drop, which there will be change in the cornea. So there are some things, some examination that we have to assess before any ophthalmic drug or any anesthetic drug installation. So many drug, particularly like many drug, particularly the anesthetic, so that may cause the degradations of the corneal epithelium, which is the first layer of the cornea, and it also introductions of the dyes can interfere with the initial appearance of the ocular surface tissue. Okay, so especially sodium fluorescent can be permeated into the anterior chamber, hindering evaluation. So further, certain mydriatic can induce the appearance of the cells in the aqueous, giving the false impressions of inflammation. So finally, the installing of the drop, especially those that staining in anesthetic and mydriatic, that can exist reflex tearing. So tear evaluation should be done before any eye drop are administered. Okay, so these are the point that there will be the dysfunction in the cornea. So there will be disbalance. So we have to assess some of the tests before any mediatic drug. And second one, if we talk about the applanation tonometry, which is like angle closure glaucoma is possible when patient with narrow anterior chamber angles are dilated. Okay, so assessment of the angle and the baseline intraocular pressure are required before dilatation. तो हम लोग को ये याद रखना है, जैसे एंगल क्लोजर वगैरह सब रहता है, तो हम लोग को पहले ही एसेस करना है, वो पेशेंट को डायलेट नहीं करना रहता है एंगल जिसको क्लोजर है, और जिसका बेसलाइन आईपी इंट्राक्यूलर प्रेशर जब सपोज 21 से ज़्यादा है, वो सबको एक बार हम लोग क्या करेंगे, कंसल्टेशन को दिखा के ही डायलेट करेंगे। तो सपोज बेस आई इंट्राकुलर प्रेशर वगैरह सब कुछ नॉर्मल है और इंटीरियर सेगमेंट भी नॉर्मल है, तो वो पेशेंट को डायलेट करेंगे। मगर वो सब एबनॉर्मल रहा तो हम लोग कंसल्टेशन को दिखा के ही डायलेट करेंगे उसको। ओके, so these are the point that we have to consider. And now I'm coming to the drug nomenclature. Okay, so it is also one of the most important part and interesting topics that here we are going to deal with the patient and counseling the patient about the drug. So here, before counseling to the patient, at first we have to know about, we should know about that drug. Okay, so that we if we know any kinds of drug, then only we are going to, so then only we can deal with the patient. So to avoid the mishap, all the pharmaceutical must be properly identified. So misidentification could result in the inadvertent administration of the wrong drug. So before administering any drug, make conscious effort to read the label of every product. Okay, like, just a minute. So many containers and the product label look similar. So do not be fooled at that time. So at first grace, people tends to see what they expect to see. So be aware about it and be familiar with that drug. So the proper identification of the pharmaceutical agent, the physicians and the technician must be familiar with the drug nomenclature. So not only the generic, but also the uh, but also the name as well as with the thousands of the prescription and non-prescription drugs are available. So this can be the Ursulation stocks. For example, there are the many drugs which name is similar. Okay, you can see the example which is in yellow color. So these drugs are similar. Okay, so we have to familiar with each and every drug. So we will readily become familiar with those agents used frequently in your practice, and you will be gradually able to add to your knowledge base. So, however, as important as knowing the drugs, namely, is knowing where to find more information about them. So, there are many references available, and I'll be providing to you the reference of the all the drugs. Okay, so so identification and the virtual information. So for EG in drug identification, there are there has been an attempt to the color of the cap of the various drug based on the class to which they belong. Okay, like there are color condition as I discussed in other slide, if you remember them, like mediatic and cycloplegic, which is used for dilatation, are have in red cap. Okay, and similarly beta blocker U, which is used to treat the glaucoma, have the yellow or blue cap. And same like mediatic such as pilocarpine have the green cap. Gray has been adopted as the color for the NSAID, which is not a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. And anti-infectives are to be identified with the brown. Okay. So, however, this color seems has not been universally adopted and always implemented. So, we have to remember there is not a substitute for the reading the label. So, always check the expiry date, and the colorations of the solution, if it can be viewed. So any evidence of the drugs degradations or expiration signals that are preparing should be degraded. And now coming to the compliance. So many of the patients used to come are not known about the drugs, how to use it, how many times we have to put. So because they did not get time to, with the doctor to ask that how many times that I have to put that up. So we have to be familiar with the that drug so that we can counseling the patient easily. So patient complaints is the key to proper therapy. So the physician may identify and offer a treatment plan for the given problem, but unless the patient follow the prescriptions regimen, so the situation may be improved. So there is especially true in ophthalmic practice, and it is also true that we are always facing this problem in our hospital, and many of the people are facing in clinic as well. So it is usually up to the patient to install medication himself or herself, and compliance may be difficult due to apprehension, lack of the dexterity, or confusion over instruction, not to be mentioned forgetfulness, absence, or number of the other factors. So, so the number of the patient who complete exactly with the given set of instruction is estimated between 25% to 50%, and may be lower. So therefore, every effort must be made to reduce the reason of non-compliance. So there are many way a patient may not be complain uh, to the doctors. So medication may not be put in often enough, or may they may be used too often in hopes of getting a greater effort. So medication may be stored properly or may not be taken when required. In additional, when more than one medication is thrown into the mix of multiple conditions are being treated. So currently problems with non-compliance becomes more likely. So education is the main key. So it starts with the providing the patient with the basic understanding of his or her condition, and it is likely course. So a patient with the primary angle glaucoma, for example, must be told that there is a chronic condition and it is controlled over a lifetime, not but it cannot be cured. So therefore, a drug must be used regularly every day. So patient must also be informed what the medication are especially to be used for, so they are not used in and that cannot be harmful to the patient. So normal side effects such as staining and the bitter taste must be explained so that when they occur with the patients is not alarm. So multiple drops at one time is not advisable, and the conjunctival sac uh, can hold one or more than a single drop. So multiple drops will also increase the unwanted side effect. The extra drop is still down the 6. So wasting drop and burdening the patient with the expenses additional prescription. So there are the medications to be effective, and that must be given time to observe. So a minimal 5 minute is required between one drop if the patient is having multiple drop and that are using at a time. So we have to consider the patient that we should take a break at least 5 minutes for a one drop, and we should be inserting after 5 minutes other drug. So ointment and gel preparation should always be administered last so as not to be interfere with the absorptions of the other drug. So if the rule is not followed, the therapeutic effect may be limited. So all the patients should be given verbal or written instructions on the proper administration of the eye, and that may be eye drop, and that may be in the form of gel and ointment. So cases have been reported when the patient actually drank their eye drop. A proper education provided by the eye care staffs will greatly improve the compliance, directly impacting the successful treatment and patient satisfaction. So, uh, so here are the guidelines that we have to tell before we should tell to the patient. So the things that the patient should know and we should also know about it, like always check the label and expiry date of the medication before using. And second one is applying one or more one drop in the eye during a single application given no additional benefit, and there will be the waste of the drop, and that may be costly. So another is allowing a minimal of 5 minutes between drops if using more than one type of medication. And fourth one is always use ointment or gel last. Yeah, if the patient is having 3 drops and one ointment and gel, so at first we have to tell the patient that you should always use the eye drop, and at the end of the drop you have to use the ointment and gel. So there are the procedure as I earlier discussed with you. Like there are procedure for the eye drop that tilt the head back and look at the ceiling. Gently pull eyelid down and away from the eyeball. And third one is install one drop with the exposed side. And fourth one is gently close eye for 1 minute. So these are the procedure we have to counsel the patient how to install the eye drop. And third one is there is a procedure for the ointment, like gently pull the lower lid and pull away from the eyeball. And second one is apply small amount of ointment, that is 1/4 ribbon into the exposed set and close the eye. So these are the procedure of the eye drop, installing of the eye drop and ointment, how to use the eye drop and the ointment. So now coming to the prescription. So how to write the prescription. So we have to know about it. Okay. So in fundamental understanding of pharmacology, one needs to be ability to decipher in writing prescription. So in additional to the fact that we may be required to write or interpret the prescription chart are often recorded in the same format. So the written prescription have the 4 major parts, and it is divided into the first there is a specific physician and patient information that include name, address, etc. Okay. And second one is the next session is called the inscription. So this contains the name of the prescription agent either by generic or trade name. And third one is to avoid the unwanted use of the flowing resolution of the condition. It is estimated to prescribe the least amount needed. And the last major component of the written prescription is the instruction. So here, so in most basic form, the instruction will contain the, just a minute. So in the most basic form, the instruction will contain the route of administration, the number of drop or tablet to be used at the frequencies to be administered. Okay. The instruction may also contain further detail including purpose of maximizing study use, the number of reveal permit as well as the other drugs and food to be avoided. When it comes to the written prescription, the measure through the bitter. And I'll be showing here this is the prescription of our Silvata Institute. And here at first there is a tapper form. We can taper the eye drop and taper the tablet as well. And here the roots. The roots means they are the what are the roots that the patient uses. Okay, that is in the ointment form, that is drop form, that is in the uh, intravenously, or that may be in the oral form. So these are the roots. And the second one is medication. Sorry, second is medicine name, that any kinds of medicine that uh, is given, and dosage means how many times that the patient should have used, and quantity, how many quantity at the eye drop or tablet should be, and timing, what will be the timing if the take- like there is timing like any bedtime UID, like 4 times thrice a day, or 4 times a day, 6 times a day. And there is duration for it, should be used for 1 month, or for a 1 week, or a day. So it should be included in the duration. So the specific of the prescription are critical. So there are no use if they cannot be read. So the prescription should be legible, and joke about the sloppy physician handwritings are no laughing matter. When it comes to prescription writing, legal illegible prescription can be lead to the misinterruptions and error on the part of the pharmacist who read them. So the current trend is to retain everything out in a plain English. So however, traditional abbreviations are still commonly used and will notice to be used due to the habit and the patient uh, preference. So moreover, charts notes are often written using the same abbreviations. All physicians and technicians can help should be words in this abbreviation, or list of the more common abbreviations I'll be showing in the coming slide. And whenever in the doubt about the given prescription instruction and abbreviations, the physician responsible should be consulted to avoid the misinterruption. Okay. So we have, if you don't understand what the written in the white paper. So you have a chance to ask to the a physician or any medical staff what is written there. So these are the common abbreviation which is used in writing the prescription. So we have to know about like PC means before meal, PID means twice a day, feed.com means with. So these are the some abbreviation that the doctors are with while writing the prescription. So we should also uh, read about this and know about it. Okay, thank you for listening. And if you have any question, then please.